Hey, everybody, and happy Friday, and welcome back. It is now week 9 of the year, so we are on our 9th week of writing prompts for the 52 prompts in the year. We're also, if you're trying to do 52 stories in 52 weeks, you should have 8 stories written by now. Maybe they're based on the prompts that we've been doing. Maybe they're just your own stories. I do have at least 8 stories for the year written. Not all are, I have not done all 8 prompts yet. I don't remember which ones I haven't done. It's not important. This week is the last week of February, and February was all about writing games, and I've saved one of my favorite writing companies and writing games for the last week. Because I did say at the end of January, if you've been following along, that every single month I do want to try to have at least one prompt that is also like a creative nonfiction or a memoir based prompt. So this week I'm giving you 2 prompts in one and showing you 2 games from one awesome company, and that company is Storymatic. The first game that they came out with was just the Storymatic, and they have now at least 3 games, but I only own 2. So I have the Storymatic and I have Rememory, which is also from the Storymatic. So, what are these prompt games? They are card games, which you could probably tell from the boxes, and each one is going to give us a different set of prompts. Storymatic is pretty much very much fiction based and getting us to write more fictional stories, a short story typical to what we've been doing throughout the month and the weeks before. Rememory cards are different in that their goal is to help us tap into a memory. So a little bit about Storymatic and where it comes from. First of all, I highly recommend these games for yourself as a writing prompt tool if you want to just use it as we will be using today, but they also can be fun as group sort of party games. Particularly Rememory is a really, really great game to get for those holidays parties and when you're seeing family and you want to just go down memory lane and learn things about different people in your family that you don't have all the time in the world to get all these stories. And sometimes people don't, we never know what's interesting about our own lives, and we just start talking about things, and then all of a sudden, someone's like, I never knew that. I love that game for this, but we'll get to that game in a minute. I just want to tell you a little bit about Storymatic and where it came from. The funny thing about both of these games for me is that I got both of them from conventions. I met the people behind Storymatic at New York Comic Con a number of years ago, like when it was first starting. And just in conversation, I was like, I will take one home. And that was that. That was the end of that. And I've owned it ever since. And last year at BookCon, I went to or was it Comic-Con? No, it was BookCon. It was at BookCon. There was a writing event run by NaNoWriMo. It was just a write-in, and it was a lot of fun, and they had different games and prizes, and I won Rememory for having a murder in the story that I wrote, and I was so excited because I've been a fan of Storymatic for so long, and I had wanted to get Rememory, and I kept forgetting, ironically. And so I won it. So it comes from this guy, Brian Mooney, who was a teacher in a college, and he also ran writing workshops at high schools. So he had created a Storymatic, a deck of cards like this, that he was using when he did his teaching. And all of the people that he worked with were like, when are you going to make a duplicate deck so I can have one? And after years, he finally did so. And I think he's doing pretty well. I just want to say this. I did, like I said, get both of these boxes from conventions. They can be bought on Amazon, but I am going to put the link of the website for Storymatic in the little doobly-doo. And the reason being, they have a little note on the website that if you order directly from them, they pack it themselves and they always add an extra gift inside, which I think is so cool. And now I'm probably going to go and order the 3rd game from them just to see what goodies I get. Okay, that's a lot of chat. Let's get to the game. I'm going to start with Storymatic. So this is for anybody who's looking to write a fiction story. Basically, you have this entire box of cards. It's usually filled to the hilt. I have a bunch taken out that I carry with me to writing group. But they're two different color cards. They're copper cards and gold cards, as they call them in the directions. These are our copper cards, and these are our gold cards. And the directions are simple. And I'm just going to do the general directions. There are, as we see in a lot of these story games, this little booklet has a lot of variations of what you can do with the game if you're working with a group, or you want to do more of like an oral style storytelling rather than writing. So there's a lot of fun different interpretations to go with this, but we're just going to do straight up regular Storymatic, which is simply we draw 2 gold cards. So if I take the gold cards, I think you'll see what they're going to give us immediately. This is romance novelist. And my second gold card is soap opera addict. So I think you can see that we take the gold cards together to build our protagonist, our characters. So this is not 2 different characters. In Storymatic, the job is to take the 2 cards, put them together to create one character. So we are creating a character who is a romance novelist who is also a soap opera addict. Okay, and then we select how many. I just want to make sure the copper cards, the same thing, right? Yep, 2 copper cards. Got our 2 copper cards, and the first one says, awfully big shoes to fill. And the second is a secret meeting. And this helps us build our story. So basically, we are going to have a romance novelist who's a soap opera addict, who there's some sort of secret meeting, and they have awfully big shoes to fill. That is it. That is all you get in terms of a prompt. However, there are 2 incredibly important rules in all Storymatic games, and I'm going to read you the 2 laws of the Storymatic. Number 1, your main character must change from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. And number 2, do not kill your main character. Now, I think that first rule is something that we should just hold true to whenever we are writing a short story. That is the point. If your character doesn't experience any kind of change, then what happened and why are we reading this story? So that first law is fantastic. The second law is hilarious to me, especially as someone who's run so many writing prompt groups and worked in writing groups. I have seen this happen, and I cracked up when I first read the rule because I was like, yep. Lots of times when we are first starting with writing prompts and we get a character we don't like in a prompt, our solution is to have them exit stage left. And sometimes that is just killing them. And so by putting this in as a law, we are truly forcing the writer to work within the prompt. And that's it. So I love that law. I don't always make sure people do it, but it is a really good practice to work within the prompt that you're given and accept that challenge and try to make it through your entire story. That's what grows our writing muscles. I'm not going to give anybody a word count limit here. I'm not even going to give you a time limit. This is your prompt. You have the 2 laws to work within. You want to make sure that your character experiences some sort of change from the beginning of the story to the end, and don't kill them. That can't be the change. They have to still be with us by the end. And that is it for Storymatic. It's a pretty simple, straightforward prompt when we deal with it this way. Like I said, there are variations on the game within the instructions, and I think they even explain some of those variations on the website. The website's simple. It's like storymatic.com. You just Google Storymatic, you're going to find it. But like I said, I'll put the link in below for you as well. And that is that, if that's what you choose to write. If you are feeling that you enjoy the personal essay aspect, or you want to get some, practice in writing memories and memoir, then I offer up Rememory. And same thing, they just have a little instruction booklet, a much smaller box, and it's organized in a slightly different way, where we have 3 different types of cards all separated for you. And the cards are the slate cards, the coffee cards, and the ruby cards. And you're basically just going to draw one of each. I want to read to you how they describe the 3 different types of cards, so that you have a sense of where we're going with this. The slate cards orient you to whose life you're thinking about. Don't know much about the person? That's okay. Let yourself wonder. Try starting with, I don't know for sure, but I imagine that my grandmother, or I wonder if my grandfather. So again, the slate card is going to be the person that we are going to be writing a memory about. And they're just saying it's, perfectly reasonable. You're going to pick something at random that has no, you don't have solid memories on. I think that's where we're gonna delve into that sticky line of memoir, and just try to feel your way through what that memory might be. The second card that they describe is the coffee card. These letters are so small for me. These orient you to the seasons of life. Spring can mean April or May, or it can mean the springtime of life. Likewise, summer can mean August, or it can mean the summer of your life, and so forth. You will find other seasons as well. We spend years and years in these seasons. So again, coffee is just going to be a time of life, and you are open to interpret that in whatever way makes sense to you. And finally, the ruby cards. By evoking the person and the season, slate and coffee cards lead you to the door of a memory. Ruby cards open that door. So I'm going to make sure to read them in that order. I'll give you your slate card, then your coffee card, and once you have taken those 2 puzzle pieces and put them together, we will have the ruby card, which will bring us to the next step. So let's do that now. We have our slate card. Oh. You. And our coffee card. Oh boy. School. So much. So much already. And now the ruby card, which is going to bring us in. So this is not a challenge at all. You and school, even if you did not go to a traditional school, if you were homeschooled, again, it's the season. And it doesn't have to be actual school because of that whole interpretation that we're doing. Could be where you were learning about yourself. That could be the school season of your life. And finally, let's see what we got for our ruby card. It's really funny because the coffee and ruby look exactly the same to me with my eyes. A glimpse of the other side. Oh, I don't want to abandon ship on the fiction already, but I am loving the Rememory prompt for this week. So it's up to you. Honestly, of course, you could always write both. I just don't want to add any extra challenges to anybody. But I did want to offer up the Rememory prompt as well. and just introduce you to both these games. Like I said, Storymatic, they just came out with something recently, like in the last year, that I'm not too familiar with, so I don't even want to speak on it. But check out their website. I love these. They're very simple, but I mean, do you feel like all the things that could be happening here already? I love it. Love Storymatic. So that's it. Those are 2 prompts for the week, and that wraps up our game month. Not that I'm out of writing games, but it was just like 1 month devoted to all games. I haven't decided on a theme for March. I'm not even sure if I'm going to have a theme, but stay tuned to see what comes up next week. And don't forget, if you want more of this voice, I have the Stop Writing Alone podcast. This past week, I did an episode called Shoulds, Wants, and Oprah, and it was all kind of triggered by the fact that I saw an interview where Oprah Winfrey said, answering the question, what do I want, is the single most important question of our lives. And I freaked out a little bit because that is the one question that I've always struggled to answer. And due to like a all the synchronicity of things, due to a series of events, it just seemed like the answers started to become clearer for me in the weeks since I saw that. And so I shared on this week's episode where that all came together. So if you struggle with answering the question, what do I want, whether it's in your writing career or anything else, I highly recommend this last episode, just because it's not just, I mean, it is just me talking, but it's not like I have this great wisdom. It's peeling together all of these things that I've just learned and mashing them together to give to you. So take a listen if you're interested. Otherwise, don't forget where we can connect. Stop Writing Alone on Facebook. There is a Facebook page and a Facebook group. In fact, after I finish uploading this video today, we are going to have a write-in. So if you happen to be watching this immediately and it's still February 28th, there will be a write-in the Stop Writing Alone with Nicole Rivera group. And also the Swap 52 Club on Facebook is where all of us who are trying to do 52 stories in 52 weeks have been congregating, sharing stories, asking for critique, and just cheering each other on in this great endeavor. Of course, we could also connect right here in the comments. So feel free to like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you think of Storymatic. I'm sure plenty of you already own it and have heard of it before, but it's always fun when somebody else randomly picks the cards for you. So enjoy this week. I can't wait to see what everybody chooses. I can't wait to see what everybody writes. Let us know. Share links in the comments of what you come up with this week and in the weeks previous. Happy writing. Stay tuned for all the ways that you can connect with me online, and I will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.